There was this guy in my group, one of my group projects, and he was telling me about like how he's doing this data analytics course, wants to be an accountant, and it got me thinking because I was when I was 15, I didn't know what I wanted to be, and if someone asked me, I might have said accountant. But this guy, he was saying like, uh, what if I go through my degree and then I realise I don't want to be an accountant? That's not what I want to do. And this is one example. Another example is there's a girl who I used to work with who spent 3 years training to be a nurse and then dropped out to, I think she does like dog walking or something now. And so this happens all the time. How do you avoid it?
You don't. You don't avoid it. You accept it as a necessary burden of doing stuff. You might get to the end and not like it. You might midway through not like it. But it's still better to try at something than do nothing and wait for your inevitable death to hit you in the face, having never tried anything. I mean, think about it this way. I think about this, Jake, because these are good questions I need to ask myself. What if I move abroad to play basketball and get lonely? Isolated in a new country, don't really know the language, not really getting on with my teammates, but yeah, I'm contracted to be there and train and play. What if I publish my book and nobody reads it? Nobody likes it? You know? What if it doesn't work out? What if I don't enjoy it? These are good questions. And they're real. You know, I don't think it's necessarily something we should avoid. I think it's something we should be aware of. We should invest in thinking about. Yeah. Everything could change. You could be in a relationship with someone for 10, 15 years and then fall out of love with them. You could drive up through a career for 20 years and then hate it when you get to the top. There's a chapter in one of Ryan Holiday's books. It's got to be, I've read two of them stand out most to me. Obstacle is the way and ego is the enemy. So it must be one of these two that I read. And the final chapter is be willing to start it all again. I think what a great way to end a book like that. That's the Stoic mentality. You know, you work hard on yourself, you build that self-governance, you try and be positive in the world, and it could all come crashing down in front of you. But you have to be willing to start again.
What do you do with that, like, that feeling of I've wasted all that time?
But is it wasted time, Jake? Is it though? Because think about this. We are hurtling towards our death at a very slow rate, subjectively, right? It all being well, me and you have probably got, looking at statistics, 70 years. No? We are heading to what is going to happen. We're going to die, right? And everything is just a way to pass the time between now and then. That's it, right? So if you try at something, you enjoy that process, and then you decide you don't want to do it anymore, it's not wasted time. You enjoyed the passing of time for that period.
So maybe the example of the girl is don't stay with her when it continues to be bad, just because you've already built all this up. And like if it's a relationship which you're not enjoying for months, then it's you wouldn't want to carry it on. Well, just because it's almost like a puppeteer of the past argument. It's like you don't want to be controlled by the past.
Well, the brain hates uncertainty and hates change, right? And your identity is founded upon all the things you've done in the past, all the overt and covert social contracts you've engaged in, your relationships, the way that people evaluate you, your reputation, right? You're kind of caged in by all this shit, the things you do for a living. And changing all of that is terrifying, because who are you then? You know, imagine if you have a level of ego attachment, you're connected to the things you do and the person that the world perceives you as, and the relationship you're in, and the friend group you have, and the way your parents brought you up, and the things that they wanted you to do as an adult. And then you gave up, or not gave up, but you transitioned out of all those things, then who the fuck are you? Very interesting. And I think that's something that's different from me, right? I don't identify with basketball as a reflection of who I am. It's a thing I do. And it's something that I want to buy this book, man. And I might buy, if I buy this book, I want you to read it after I read it. It's from a guy called James Hollis. He's like this old bloke now, but he's like a modern
Jungian psychologist.
Jungian psychologist. He wrote this book called What Matters Most. And I read the like summary on Amazon because I'm going to buy the book. And one of the chapters is called Be the Verb, Not the Noun. Right? Be the action, not the title. I like that a lot. We are just human beings, and we're going to go and do things for the next 70 years and then die. Right? I'm not a wheelchair basketball player. I'm not a podcaster. I'm not a student. I'm a bloke that learns things and talks about them and plays a sport every day. That's me, right? It's not me. That's the person I am in the world. But like, if I then stop doing these things, and if they were my core pillars of my identity, and I stop doing them, then who am I? That's what midlife crises are about. People change and don't know who they are anymore. So all that to say, I don't even know how we got onto that, but all that to say, don't think that what you do is who you are. You're so much more than what you do.
You know what your actions say.
Yes, who you are now in the world is based on what you've done. But that doesn't mean that's all you're ever going to be. You know?
Yeah, you got to be formless and weave.
Exactly.
Like water.
Be like water. Don't get trapped in being Joel Clifton and Jacob Matthew. Or maybe don't